words can have different meanings depending on what country you're in, even though it's the same word, right? I found this video called 11 Words with Completely Different Meanings in Britain and America by the channel Lost in the Pond. This guy's name's Lawrence. He lives in, I believe, Chicago. He does videos where he compares the differences between like Britain and the United States and stuff. Very interesting videos. I love them. I've reacted to some before. So, anyways, links down below for this. Thanks for watching with me, guys.
Hello. Oh, stitches. Hello. As you can see, I'm having a lot of fun this morning, largely because I've been reading an American dictionary. That's what I do with my time these days, and as I was reading it, it got me thinking about something. As a British man who lives in America, I often talk to you about some of the words we use in Britain versus some of the words they use in America. Hilarious. But there are some cases where we use the exact same words, except the meaning of these particular words on either side of the pond is completely and utterly a little bit different. And so it's my job today to analyse this book, not for its plot or character development, but for some of those words that have a different meaning in Britain and America. Thankfully, both countries can agree on the meaning of the word subscribe, and if you haven't yet done that, do that now. In the meantime,
So, is there a different Webster's for Britain English and American English, I wonder? Or if it's just the same dictionary and it just tells you the differences, like in Britain English it means this, in American English it means that. I guess we'll find out.
nobody leaves the class until I'm finished. That's just my teaching style. So the first word is bogey, which I can't say with a straight face, and I know that might be confusing.
Well, I know what it means in British English because I've watched Harry Potter. I read some of the Harry Potter books, not all of them, but I read some of them when I was younger. And I don't think I watched them all either. But bogey in the British English, I believe means booger, I think. And then here, I don't know anything outside of maybe the golf term, but that would be the same, right? They play golf in Britain. I don't know.
Confusing to most Americans, but I promise you everything will become clear in just a minute. We're going to talk firstly, though, about golf, because in both countries, that's a popular pastime for some reason. And bogey
Okay.
means the score of 1 over par, whatever that means. But in America, it has a couple of other meanings. Bogey, an unidentified aircraft. This is typically an aircraft that's suspicious, like a drone over Denmark or a very fast tic-tac. Nothing
Okay.
funny about any of that. So why were you laughing earlier, Lawrence? Well, it's because in Britain, a bogey is nasal mucus. There's no getting around it. You pick your nose, a bogey comes out, and you show it to everybody. Next up is the word
Yep.
entree, and I think we can all
Entree, yeah, that's like something to do with food, right? A meal, like an entree, like is a course of food or like a breakfast entree. I don't know how to explain it on the spot, but probably French origins by looking at the word.
We can all agree that this is a very, 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 very French word, but only one of us defines this word like the French do, and that's Britain. There, an entree is a lesser used word for appetizer, a starter, the small meal before the
Yeah.
main meal. And so my American viewers can probably understand that I was quite confused when I first moved here and saw that Americans, for their entree, were eating things like a hamburger and fries. If that's the appetizer, what the is the main course. Thankfully, as pointed out in Webster's dictionary, an entree is the principal course at a dinner or luncheon, a word that is sadly dying in both countries. Anyway, whether I call it entree, dinner,
Okay.
lunch, tea, supper, one thing remains the same. I don't have time to make it. That's why, for the past year, I've been using Factor. Factor delivers
Factor.
fresh, never frozen, chef-crafted meals straight to your door. And these are not bland microwave dinners. They're restaurant-quality meals ready in just 2 minutes.
Can you guys get
Unlike
these
me, it never gets old. They've recently expanded
in
their
Europe?
menu to over 80 rotating weekly options, with more seafood, more protein, and more global cuisines like Mediterranean and Asian dishes.
Yum.
Today, I'm trying this dish for the first time, and I can confirm it tastes a lot better than the mystery meals I
Well, it didn't look good before he cooked it. I'll tell you that much. It looked not so good frozen, but he should have showed it after it was cooked, right?
I used to cobble together after filming. And I've said it before, what I love most about it is Factor's flexibility. If you don't like pork, you can switch it out for chicken. And if you're aiming for specific goals like high protein or calorie smart, you can do that too. Honestly, Factor has taken the guesswork out of eating well for me. It's quicker than cooking, cheaper than takeout, and way better tasting than whatever I would have managed with a half-empty fridge. Head to factor75.com or click the link below and use code LITPFB50 to get 50% off plus free breakfast for 1 year. That's code LITPFB50 at factor75.com to get 50% off plus free breakfast for 1 year. The link is in the description below. Now, it's not just food where this kind of confusion occurs. It's also drink in the case of cider and...
Well, here, as far as I know, it's just like apple cider. Yeah. It could be hard cider with alcohol or just regular cider. I think that's, unless there's something else, because entree, I don't know. I knew it was something to do with food. I wasn't sure specifically which food related thing that it was, but.
And I'm not expecting you to take my word for it. Instead, here's me from a couple of years ago. Back when I still lived in England, I could often be found down at the pub ordering my 3rd pint of cider. And I know what my US subscribers are thinking. Ooh, Lawrence, we've absolutely no idea what you're talking about. And that's because what Americans call cider doesn't actually contain any alcohol. For that, you'd have to ask for hard cider.
Okay.
You see, in America, cider, or apple cider, is an unfiltered and unsweetened drink made from apples, and is particularly popular at this time of year. In Britain, such a drink is known, and I can't believe I'm not making this up, as cloudy apple juice. Anyway, is American...
Well, cloudy apple juice, whatever. It's good. It sounds good right now. I'm drinking coffee, but I would love some right now. Really hot, really warm. Put it in a cup. It's nice.
American apple cider any good? Let's see.
Yeah, it is.
I think that's my roundabout way of saying that, as with British cider, it's very good.
Yeah.
Just for very different reasons. Next up, coach. And I can't believe I've got all these years into this channel and I've not really discussed this word.
Coach.
The word coach.
As far as I know, coach is just like to teach someone, to coach them, to kind of coerce them in the right direction, I guess, right?
The word coach has a lot of meanings on either side of the pond. I think both countries agree that a coach was an enclosed horse-drawn passenger carriage that people rode before colour was invented. And a coach is a high-level sports trainer. But that's where our agreement ends. In Britain, a coach is also a very specific type of bus that commutes lots of people to great distances. An example of such a bus in America is a Greyhound bus. That to us is a coach. But in America, a coach is a person. Specifically, they're a sports teacher in school with a tracksuit and a whistle. Where I come from, that person never garnered the respect to be called coach. They were just the PE teacher. And there'll always be that to me because I still haven't recovered from the 100 push-ups I had to do in 19.
It's still the PE teacher here, though. It's not coach unless it's specifically a sports team. If you're on the basketball team, then you'd have a basketball coach. If you're just in PE class, which is just stands for physical education, you just go there, you play games, you exercise, stuff like that. And you're playing basketball, you wouldn't call it your coach. It's just still your PE teacher.
Teacher. And there'll always be that to me because I still haven't recovered from the 100 push-ups I had to do in 1997. Next up, concession. And my American viewers are probably thinking, ooh, Lawrence, do...
Concession stand is the only thing I can think of, right? So a concession stand would be like... if you're at an event or something, a concession stand would be where you get like popcorn, drinks, snacks, candy bars, chips, stuff like that.
Do British politicians not do a concession speech when they lose? And the answer to that is yes. It's America where that's been on thin ice. No, I'm talking about other definitions of the word concession. In Britain, a concession is a form of discount that's afforded to a specific type of person. So if you're a blue-headed alien from the planet Mauritius, which is a planet that I just made up, and you're attending an event that's all about your planet, you might get a special concession on your ticket prices. No idea why I made this whole thing up. Okay. In America, concession might mean concession stand, which is sort of like a snack bar at some sort of event. And I went to one of these recently and discovered that they actually offer the exact opposite of a discount, and my bank is still calling every day. And then we have the word flat, which...
Yeah, the exact opposite of a discount is not wrong because if you go back, let's go back just a second. The exact opposite of a discount is, I guarantee you 100% there's absolutely no chance that he paid less than $8 for just this right here. And that's the absolute cheap end. He paid at minimum $8. These days, probably more really, but and especially like close to Chicago, maybe it's a bigger city, so they might raise the prices even more over there. I don't know.
My bank is still calling every day. And then we have the word flat, which I think both countries can agree can mean something like Lawrence's.
Well, I know in England a flat is an apartment. What we call an apartment here, right? Like a place you rent, it's just like a bunch of rooms in a building. You rent one, right? Flat also would be like something is flat. I don't know what other kind of flat there would be here besides something is flat.
And then we have the word flat, which I think both countries can agree can mean something like Lawrence's delivery isn't flat. We
Well,
also
yeah.
agree that flat means level and smooth.
Yeah,
Britain
yeah.
famously uses flat to mean apartment. In America, flat used as a singular noun, as in a flat,
Oh,
is more
yep.
commonly heard here
Flat tire, which I had one a couple weeks back.
in the context of a flat tire. Like people will actually say, I got a flat, but in an American accent. And the next one here
Yeah,
is
I got a
relevant to
flat.
the last one, and that word is block. And that's
Okay, block. So it could be an object. It could be like a block, like a cinder block made out of concrete. It could be a block like a city block, right? Um, yeah, I mean, what else? What else could it be? I don't know what it would be in Britain. We're gonna find out together.
And that's because in Britain, when we're referring to a collection of flats, as in apartments, we'll say things like, oh, look at that beautiful block of flats that was built in the 1960s, said nobody ever.
That
Whereas
makes
in America,
sense.
they take that same idea and apply it to actual streets in
Yeah,
between each intersection. As in, you walk 2 blocks to the coffee shop. That really is the best I could do. Sorry, New York.
New York. You almost sounded more Boston. That was almost more of like a Boston accent, actually. Like, but yeah, I guess I could see that though. Like that makes sense.
As in, you walk 2 blocks to the coffee shop. That really is the best I could do. Sorry, New York. The next one is fix, which again has so many meanings on either side of the pond. Both countries agree that fix can mean repair, can mean
Yeah,
to
that's
sterilize an animal, or it can mean to manipulate the outcome of a sports event. Something that my
yeah,
PE teacher
yeah.
definitely didn't do in my final five-a-side match. But in Britain, fix can also mean to arrange a date. As in, a date has been fixed for the release of Lawrence's next video, which weirdly is tomorrow. 8
That's also okay. So the thing with this one, he probably hasn't heard this too much in Chicago, right? A northern state, okay? But certain spots of the South, West Virginia, for instance, and Virginia, North Carolina, like that area, right? They will use fixed. Like there's a lot of terms that they use down there that they don't use anywhere else in the United States, but are old British terms or Scottish terms or Irish terms from that came over from way back when. So like my grandma's from West Virginia and she uses the word fixed. Um, I fixed you up, I fixed you a plate of food, I fixed your bed up for you. I mean, and to get somebody's bed around to sleep in or stuff like that. So yeah. And they say over yonder, stuff like that. That's I think an old British term too. I don't know for sure on that one, but yeah, in Chicago they probably don't hear people saying the word fixed in that term because it's not the part of the country that still does, if that makes sense.
8 things that I didn't know about America until I moved here. But Americans bloody love this word, don't they? Lawrence, could I fix you a slice of cinnamon toast? No, I hate it. Oh, you British are so funny. And then some Americans might say, I'm fixing to kick your ass, Lawrence. That's from I Love Brooklyn 284. One thing I've learned since moving.
Okay, so he has heard it in a certain sense of one of the examples I used it in, but she does also still use it in the sense that he said it in that he said was only the British way, right?
moving
Fluid
to
ounce.
America, sometimes we will use the same measuring unit for a thing, but that unit is defined differently. I've talked before about how we define the word gallon differently, and the same is true of
Yeah.
fluid ounce. For those of you thinking of leaping across the pond and becoming a chemistry teacher, know this. In Britain, a fluid ounce is measured as 28.41 millilitres, and in the US,
0.41.
it's equal to 29.57 millilitres.
Didn't
The
know
reason
that.
for the difference is that Britain uses the imperial measurement, in which 28.41 millilitres is equal to the weight of 1 ounce of water. America, meanwhile, uses a measuring system based on the Queen Anne wine gallon, in which 29.57 millilitres is equal to the weight of 1 ounce of wine. So, in this instance, I actually couldn't tell you what Jesus would do. Next up is the word...
Oh boy. Is this lead or is this lead? They're both spelled the same, right? So lead would be like to take the lead, yeah?
The word lead. Sure, in both
Lead.
countries, lead means to guide the way. When I was growing up in Britain, a lead meant one of two things. Number one, it's one of these. Oh, I unplugged the
Oh,
light. Take my word.
well, I didn't know about the wire. That's weird. A lead is also a thing for, I've heard people call a leash that, a dog leash. I've heard them call it a lead.
Take my word for it, this is what Americans might call a cord. But
Yeah.
as an animal lover and somebody who currently lives with dogs, a lead to me will always be this. And this makes sense
I've
because
heard
you
that, yeah.
literally lead the dog. Actually,
Well,
mine lead me mostly.
I was getting ready to say, yeah, exactly. Yeah, the dog sometimes will lead the person, and Tesla tries that. He's actually laying down there right now, sleeping.
Most of the time, but the meaning still works either way. In America, it's called a leash. When I think of leash, it just sounds so dehumanizing, and then I realize that they're not human, so it's fine. Now, the detectives are
But I've heard Americans call it lead. I have heard that as well.
so dehumanizing, and then I realize that they're not human, so it's fine. Now, the detectives among you who are trying to work out what definition is he going to come up with next might have already thought of it, because in America, a lead is a clue or a potential piece of information about the crime. At least
Yeah,
it was
is.
on Columbo, so I'm assuming it is in real life. And finally, I'm going to lead all of you to my garden, which is the final entry. I've taught many times.
Garden in Britain is the whole yard. And in Europe as well, I believe. In a lot of places over there, the garden's the whole yard. Here, the garden is just our garden. It's just the spot where we specifically plant our flowers, like our flower garden, or our vegetable garden, stuff like that.
Many times about how what Americans call a yard, British people call a garden. I've even tried to get a combination of those words, yarden, into the dictionary, but so far Merriam and Webster aren't listening.
No,
but
they
anyway,
didn't.
what I haven't spoken much about is the fact that America does use the word garden. Come over here. When you have something like this, cultivated land whose express purpose is for growing food, vegetables and the like, even though what you see here is weeds and not tomatoes, as I'm trying to pretend. And this applies not just to gardens within your own yard, but to those kind of rented spaces that British people refer to as allotments. That is a little plot of land that you might have rented where you go and grow vegetables. Anyway, that's it for this episode. So be sure to check out my visit to the State Fair, where I did more than just visit concession stands. Until the next video, goodbye.
So what in the world do you guys call the spot then? If you have a garden, which is your whole yard, then what exactly, if you have a vegetable patch or like a flower patch in there, do you not call it a garden then? Because you don't have a garden inside your garden. Would that be a redundancy in words, or do you just call it a flower patch or something? I don't know. But anyways, awesome video, great channel, great audience. You guys are amazing. Hit like and subscribe. Have a super fun, awesome day, and I'll catch you in the next one. Take care. Bye.